It's Nobel Peace Prize Day, and we have a winner.
I need to read, okay, I'm flying to London tomorrow night. I have like 4 shows I'm doing, and one is a Middle East-centered show. So I think I probably need to read about whatever this Gaza peace deal is. Is there anything in here about some comprehensive overview of what this even is? Link me the best article on this so I can have an opinion.
The Nobel Peace Prize for 2025 goes to a brave and committed champion of peace.
Champion of peace? So the guy who just ended 8 wars, right?
The Norwegian Nobel Committee has decided to award the Nobel Peace Prize for 2025 to Maria Corina Machado.
Come again? Maria doesn't sound like Donald. Even Maria was like, I don't want it.
The person who
Israeli
actually got
police.
the Nobel Prize called me and said, I'm accepting this in honor of you because you really deserved it. A very nice thing to do. I didn't say then give it to me, though. I couldn't say.
Maria's fighting for democracy in Venezuela. Well, you go, girl. So is Trump. That's why we're blowing up Coke boats and just slap.
God, I hate my country. God, what a fucking caricature of an American retard.
The $50 million bounty on Maduro's head. Trump just brought peace to the Middle East, so it's obvious the Nobel Committee has the Norwegian strain of TDS. Reporters asked the chair of the Nobel, why the snub?
This committee sits in a room filled with the portraits of all laureates, and that room is filled with both courage and integrity.
It's not called the Nobel Courage Prize, and if it was, Trump's got it. He got shot in the head, popped up, and said, fight, fight, fight.
He didn't pop up, but whatever.
On Monday,
Okay, I don't care. Apparently you're a two-faced debate lord, according to Martin Decoder. Wow, anonymous,
In
thanks
this
for 5
video,
unit subs.
we're breaking down a debate about Charlie Kirk,
6.4K views 1 day ago.
focusing on how Destiny responds when confronted with moral questions and the rhetorical tactics he uses to evade accountability. It's a masterclass in deflection. We'll explore how these tactics work, why they're disingenuous, and what they reveal, not just about Destiny's debating style, but about our culture.
I'm going to do an analysis of the debating style of a person on a 4v1 show? What? I didn't know they made retards in black and white. What is this? What a stupid seeking truth through language. Oh my God. Kill me. Okay.
US President Donald Trump, alongside Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, presented yet another peace plan for Gaza. Despite the fact that the previous proposed ceasefires have all fallen short, Trump seemed remarkably optimistic about this one, claiming that it could even bring, quote, eternal peace to the Middle East. However, in the press conference afterwards, both Trump and Netanyahu made it clear that if Hamas didn't accept the deal, Israel would escalate.
God damn! Wait, who is this? TLDR News Global. 4K uploads. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. Give me that high def news. Hell yeah.
Its war in Gaza, with Netanyahu promising to, quote, finish the job, and Trump promising American support to that end. So in this video, we're going to take a look at this new peace plan, why there's reason to suspect that Hamas won't accept the new peace plan, why there's reason to suspect that Hamas won't accept it, and what might actually happen next.
That's me!
If you're interested in the political alliances and groupings that shape our world, then you might enjoy our poster, Every Alliance Explained. It shows in...
Why do I see Destiny so differently? Why do we see him so much differently than the majority of people? Because the rest of them are brainwashed. Truthfully, I think that anytime you find yourself standing in opposition to a bunch of other people, you should always be wary that you're getting brainwashed or that you are incorrect on something and you're like too dug in on a particular point. So I think it's always good to have like some kind of mental check or strategy to make sure that, okay, well, how can I make sure I'm not the one who's falling for bullshit? I mean, like, I would say pretty obviously, I think on the factual accounting of things, I think I do enough reading and research that my points stand pretty well supported. Although the other side would say the same thing. So I would say one thing that I'm unique on is I would say I am absolutely willing to hash it out with any of these motherfuckers that disagree with me, and all of them are fucking petrified to talk to me. That would be the main difference. So if somebody thinks I'm brain broken or I'm disingenuous or I'm lying or not educated on a point, oh, okay, well, come tell me about it. We can chat about it. There's a reason why all of them are scared as fuck and they only show up on these peer shows with me and won't ever do a one-on-one conversation, or will intentionally cancel or tried to be on shows arguing it. So that would be my main argument against it.
Slightly confusing detail, all of the world's major alliances and how different countries link
But
together.
that's also because that's a reflection of the current media environment. The current media environment champions the aesthetic of like debate bro or the aesthetic of logic and reason, but the actual game that's being played is one of boosting your own side and kind of like circle jerking and preaching to the choir and echo chambering. So you say things like, oh, we're open to debate or conversation, but the only people you argue with are unprepared college kids that you're heavily editing the video footage of. Or, you know, you say that you're willing to talk to anybody, but you're only talking to epic centrists who also happen to agree with basically every single point that you're bringing up. Yeah.
Free Alliance explained. It shows, in slightly confusing detail, all of the world's major alliances and how different countries link together. Check out the poster by clicking the links in the description. So let's get straight into it. We've actually got the full text of Trump's new peace plan for Gaza, and it's composed of 20 bullet points, which we'll run through quickly now, so stick with me. Point 1 states that Gaza will become a de-radicalized, terror-free zone. Point
The fuck does that mean?
2 states that Gaza will be redeveloped, quote, for the benefit of the people. Point
Okay, interesting.
3 states that if both sides agree, the war will end immediately. And
Probably good.
importantly, however, this doesn't mean that IDF troops will withdraw from Gaza. Rather, they'll just withdraw to a, quote, agreed-upon line, only a kilometer or so back from their current line of control. Points 4 and 5 deal with hostages, obliging Hamas to return all hostages in return for thousands of Gazans detained since October 7th.
Oh, Gazans detained since October 7th. Has Israel agreed to release all of those? Will they do that?
Point 6 offers an amnesty to Hamas members who commit to peaceful coexistence and decommission their weapons, while point 7 and 8
Yes,
essentially
they have? Okay.
guarantee a resumption of humanitarian aid into Gaza. Point 9 says that Gaza will temporarily be governed by a
This can't really be a condition. There always has to be humanitarian aid going into the Gaza Strip, so I don't really know what that means because that can't ever be a condition, but okay.
technocratic committee of Palestinians and international development experts, overseen by a so-called Board of Peace, to be chaired by Trump and include former British Prime Minister Tony Blair. Seen by a so-called Board of Peace, to be chaired by Trump and include former British Prime Minister Tony Blair. This committee will govern Gaza until the Palestinian Authority, which is nominally responsible for the governance of the West Bank, has, quote, completed its reform program. It's
Govern? Govern how? Like actually be the administrative body?
peace, to be chaired by Trump and include former British Prime Minister Tony Blair. This committee will govern Gaza until the Palestinian Authority, which is nominally responsible for the governance of the West Bank, has, quote, completed its reform program. It's
Has the PA agreed to that? Ooh, Netanyahu leveraging any peace with the Gaza Strip into a further cuckening of the PA? I guess I'll keep watching.
worth noting that this is,
Or maybe it's a good, I don't know, we'll see.
first glance, quite a significant concession from Netanyahu, who's previously refused to countenance the idea of a Palestinian Authority playing any role in Gaza. Although, of course, a lot depends here on what exactly is meant by completed its reform program. And the deal also makes reference to Trump's 2020 plan, which required the Palestinian Authority to swallow some pretty bitter pills, including refraining from any attempt to join any international organization without Israel's consent,
Damn!
and taking no action against Israel or the US via the ICC, ICJ, and all other tribunals.
Damn! I believe, I don't remember how this works formally. Like, I think like Palestine is like, are they an observer state in the UN or something? But I believe that the Palestinian territories, I think both of them, are signatories to the Rome Statute, which brings them under ICC authority, I believe, which means that theoretically, like Netanyahu could, I believe, be arrested if he was in the West Bank because they are signatories to the ICC, to the Rome Statute, so they're part of the ICC. Israel is not, I believe, part of the ICC, nor is the US. I think. Taking no action against Israel or the US via ICC, ICJ, or others. Does that mean that they would have to drop the genocide case as well? Because South Africa is the one that brought the genocide case to the ICJ concerning the Gaza Strip and Israel. Does this lack of taking taking no action against Israel or the US via the ICC, ICJ, or others. I wonder if that means they have to drop that ongoing case.
Next up is point 10, which includes some waffle about Trump's economic development plan. Point 11 then says that Gaza will become a special economic...
Israel is part of the ICJ, but not the ICJ. Every country is technically part of the ICJ because the ICJ is the International Court of Justice, which is part of the United Nations. So every country is subject to the ICJ or whatever.
Zone with which includes some waffle about Trump's economic development plan. Point 11 then says that Gaza will become a special economic zone with preferential tariff rates. Point 12 addresses the question of Palestinians being forced...
Special economic zone as, like, to the US or to the world, or...
...forcibly expelled from Gaza, which is something that Israel has been accused of considering.
No one to be forced to leave Gaza, and those who wish to leave will be free to do so and free to return. That last part here is really important if you're worried about them getting kicked out forever.
insisting that, quote, no one will be forced to leave Gaza, and those who wish to leave will be free to do so and free to return. Point 13 then basically says that Hamas must agree not to have any role in Gaza's post-war governance structure and its total demilitarization. Points 14 and 15 then basically say that Gaza's Arab neighbors will lead a new international coalition called the International Stabilization Force.
What does that mean? Does that mean no prior Hamas members are allowed to be part of the role in Gaza governance? Because everybody that's part of the current government would be Hamas, so you'd basically be disbarring every single current government official from being part of the new government, no? I wonder what that means.
Or ISF, that will essentially become responsible for security inside the Strip. Point 16 says the ISF will gradually take over from the IDF, who will eventually only be responsible for security along Gaza's borders with Israel and Egypt. Interestingly, point 17 says that this will happen even if Hamas rejects the deal. In other words, this Arab-led coalition would apparently replace the IDF, whatever happens. Points 18, 19, and 20 then basically say that Palestinians, Israel, and the US will work together towards peaceful coexistence and, quote, a credible pathway to Palestinian self-determination and statehood, which we recognize as the aspiration of the Palestinian people. At first glance, this looks like a meaningful concession from Netanyahu.
It doesn't. It looks like an Oslo Accords 3. Except worse for the Palestinian. Is there more writing about what any of these points mean? This is like worse than the Clinton parameters. What? I don't know what the fuck. Gaza will be governed under the temporary transitional governance of a technocratic, apolitical Palestinian committee responsible for delivering the day-to-day running of public... Oh, so it will be administrative. Public services and municipalities for the people in Gaza. This committee will be made up of qualified Palestinians and international experts with oversight and supervision by a new international transitional body, the Board of Peace, which will be headed and chaired by President Donald J. Trump, with other members and heads of state to be announced. Like, does this mean by the United States president or just by, like, Trump personally? How do you have an apolitical government? Yeah, what does that mean? This body will set the framework and handle the funding for the redevelopment of Gaza until such time as the Palestinian Authority has completed its reform program as outlined in various proposals. What proposals? Including President Trump's peace plan in 2020 and the Saudi-French proposal, and can securely and effectively take back control of Gaza. This body will call on the best international standards to create modern and efficient governance that serves the people of Gaza and is conducive to attracting investment. Wow, the best. Okay. Okay. Whatever.
Netanyahu, who has previously ruled out the idea of a Palestinian state. But it's worth noting that this includes no concrete commitments, merely a recognition from Israel and the US that it's the aspiration of the Palestinian people. So could this deal actually bring eternal peace to the Middle East? Well, at first glance, there seems to be a cause for optimism. Israel has made at least some superficial concessions, and the deal has been well received internationally. The UK...
A guide to Trump's 20-point Gaza peace plan. Okay, they were going to do a ceasefire, military drawdown. The White House plan indicates future withdrawals to around 40% and 15% of Gaza territory. The final stage keeps a security perimeter until Gaza is secure from any resurgent terror threat. What is a security perimeter? Isn't that just the border? Isn't that already a security perimeter? Is Israel eating even more of the Gaza Strip? I feel like this just looks like Oslo 3 to me. No, am I crazy? Like they've got like their area, like this is your new Area C kind of, except I guess no Jews are moving in, right? Let's see, we've got a prisoner swap. Plan to send full aid without interference. Troop deployment. The Rafah crossing with Egypt has been open for aid delivery. European officials confirmed with a small Israeli troop presence remains there. The United States will send... Long-term, Trump's 20-point plan stipulates that no Palestinians will be militarily forced to leave Gaza. What does that mean? Militarily forced to leave Gaza, and that Israel will agree not to occupy or annex the Gaza Strip. Long-term, the enclave will be redeveloped for the benefit of the people of Gaza, who have suffered more than enough. The plan reads, at the same time, Gaza must be a de-radicalized terror-free zone that does not pose a threat to its neighbors. This is I don't know what de-radicalized means. Like, are they going to be attacking like Islam or the religion, or is this going to be like a secular zone? Like, obviously they wouldn't do that, but I'm curious. I feel like you could define this in so many different ways. Keep in mind that our current administration defines the Democrats as a radical party in the US, right? So I don't know what the fuck this means. Temporary transitional governance of a technocratic, apolitical Palestinian committee, which will operate under an international board headed by Trump. The Board of Peace, as Trump calls it. What are these Palestinian Authority reforms? Are there any details on what that means? Okay, so basically, what a waste of time. So this is just a shitty ceasefire. That's all this is. That's all. Okay, that's what we got here. It's a shitty ceasefire with nothing else that's really ironed out yet.
UK, France, and Italy all expressed support for the plan, and the foreign ministers of Saudi Arabia, Jordan, the UAE, Indonesia, Pakistan, Turkey, Qatar, and Egypt released a joint statement, quote, welcoming Trump's plan. The fact that the Arab countries that we expected to lead the ISF, like Egypt and Jordan, and relatively Hamas-friendly countries like Turkey and Qatar, have all reacted so positively does seem like a good sign. Nonetheless, familiar stumbling blocks do remain. Countries that we expected to lead the ISF, like Egypt and Jordan, and relatively Hamas-friendly countries like Turkey and Qatar, have all reacted so positively does seem like a good sign. Relatively Hamas-friendly countries.
Republican Islamic State of Pakistan, Republic of Turkey, stand the war in Gaza, and assert their confidence in its ability to find a path to peace. They emphasize the importance of the partnership with the U.S. in securing peace in the region. Along these lines, the ministers welcome the announcement by President Trump regarding his proposal to end the war, rebuild Gaza, prevent the displacement of Palestinians. Well, this announcement will not allow the annexation of the West Bank. The ministers affirm their readiness to engage positively and constructively with the United States and the parties towards finalizing the agreement and ensuring its implementation. So this agreement is not finalized yet, right? They reaffirm their joint commitment to work with the U.S. to end the war in Gaza through a comprehensive deal that ensures unrestricted delivery of sufficient and unrestricted violence, frees hostages, economic security all sides, fully withdrawal, rebuilds Gaza, and creates a path for just peace on the basis of the two-state solution under which Gaza is fully integrated with the West Bank and a Palestinian state in accordance with international law as key to achieving regional stability and security. Okay.
Countries like Turkey and Qatar have all reacted so positively does seem like a good sign. Nonetheless, familiar stumbling blocks do remain. Most obviously, this requires Hamas to accept their demilitarization for the good of ordinary Palestinians, which feels unlikely. Furthermore, the plan is remarkably vague. It isn't clear, for instance, what the precise relationship between the Palestinian government and the Trump-led Board of Peace will be. The deal text only tells us the board will, quote, set the framework. Nor are there any concrete commitments vis-a-vis the Palestinian state, or any clarity on who could serve on the technocratic Palestinian committee. Would civil servants who served under Hamas, for instance, be excluded? Perhaps the most problematic is the lack of clear timetable for the IDF's promised withdrawal. This isn't in and of itself a bad thing. Lots of peace deals use vague language as a stepping stone to a better defined agreement. But it is a problem in this context. Perhaps the most problematic is the lack of clear timetable for the IDF's promised withdrawal. This isn't in and of itself a bad thing. Lots of peace deals use vague language as a stepping stone to a better defined agreement.
Is that true? I feel like when there's vague language, it's so people on both sides can exploit the vagueness. But maybe that's only with regards to the Israel-Palestine thing. Maybe in other parts of the world, maybe that's not the case.
But it is a problem in this context, because there's zero trust between Israel and Hamas would expect Israel to exploit this vagueness in the future. Netanyahu's comments since the deal's presentation won't have helped things either. On Monday evening, Netanyahu put out a video in Hebrew framing the deal as a diplomatic ploy, claiming that instead of Hamas isolating us, we isolated Hamas, and that, quote, the IDF will remain in most of the Strip. Netanyahu's comments were presumably an attempt to placate the far-right ministers whom he relies on for his parliamentary majority. But this didn't work, and on Tuesday, Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich denounced the proposal as a, quote, resounding diplomatic failure. Furthermore, contrary to what recent headlines have implied, Israel's Arab neighbors have not actually said that they support the plan. Rather, they, quote, welcome Trump's efforts.
Yeah, this reads like a passive-aggressive, like, we're very happy that you're on the road to making a plan. We support your journey there. We look forward to when you fully agreed with, international law. They put that term in there. Yeah, that's what this reads like.
Rather, they, quote, welcome Trump's efforts towards peace, but insist upon a comprehensive deal that includes, quote, full Israeli withdrawal and a two-state solution under which Gaza is fully integrated with the West Bank. This isn't explicitly guaranteed by the deal. And again, Netanyahu's comments won't have helped. Not only has Netanyahu claimed that the IDF will remain in most of the Strip, but he also reiterated his opposition to a Palestinian state, insisting, quote, it is not written in the agreement, and expressing skepticism that, quote, the leopard can change its spots. In other words, casting doubt on the idea of the Palestinian Authority ever taking control of Gaza, and thus the prospect of a unified Palestinian state covering both Gaza and the West Bank. Now, this isn't to say that the deal will necessarily fail, and Trump does deserve credit for squeezing out at least some concessions from Netanyahu. Nonetheless, history doesn't bode well here, and familiar obstacles are already rearing their heads. Ultimately, we live in a world where growing geopolitical and economic issues like this are hitting the headlines every day.
Glad you're watching SitCon in an hour. Looking forward to it. What the fuck is SitCon? What?
And while it's easy to sometimes feel overwhelmed, there are ways to stay sharp. And we know that the easiest way to do this is with Brilliant. That's because Brilliant teaches you by doing, using active learning techniques to train you in the principles behind otherwise complex subjects.
SitCon these nuts.
And ensuring you actually understand what's going on. With their ever-growing collection of lessons in topics ranging from maths to science to AI, there's plenty to get you started. Not only does each lesson offer a comprehensive mix of engaging problems and competitive features, but Brilliant also helps you stay consistent, keeping you motivated and excited to learn every single day. Take their newly updated science courses, for example. Here you can learn how to build simple computers out of logic gates, or open your eyes to the world around you by solving puzzles with science. Each lesson will help you to develop your scientific intuition through visual interactive problem solving that gets you hands-on with key concepts. Try Brilliant for free and start your learning journey today by visiting brilliant.org/TLDR, scanning the QR code on screen, or clicking the link in the description. By doing so, you'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription, and they'll know you came from us, which really helps us out.
Wow. Mainstream media is now asking everyone to denounce Tucker Carlson and real Candace Owens. But those two have been more understanding and sympathetic to Muslim Americans than all of mainstream media combined for my whole life. So why don't we start by denouncing national media first? Dude, Cenk and Anna are just lost. Israel really does rot the mind, or like Jew shit, just like rots people's brains. Holy fuck. Trump said to tell Prime Minister Netanyahu, intense phone call after Hamas responded to Gaza deal, you're always so fucking negative. This is a win. Base. Trump has no idea what is or isn't a win for the Middle East. He's retarded. He doesn't know anything about anything. Why do I keep saying this? It's obvious. Okay. Yeah, I saw this. This is just wild.
About like, yes, we're going to surveil everybody. Everyone will be on their best behavior. Yes, you're a freak. You're a total creep.
Okay.
All right. I'm talking about like, yeah.
Based.
Illinois and the city of Chicago are filing a lawsuit against the Trump administration over deployments of National Guard troops. Joining us now to comment, White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy, Stephen Miller. We have a lot to get to, Stephen, including the government shutdown. Thank you so much for joining us, by the way. You've called the district judge's ruling blocking the deployment of National Guard in Oregon legal insurrection. Does the administration still plan to abide by that ruling?
Well, the administration filed an appeal this morning with the Ninth Circuit. I would note the administration won an identical case in the Ninth Circuit just a few months ago with respect to the federalizing of the California National Guard. Under Title 10 of the U.S. Code, the president has plenary authority.
Stephen? Stephen? Hey, Stephen, can you hear me?
Wait, they didn't edit this clip out. Other guys said they did.
It seemed, Stephen, I apologize. It seems like we're having a technical issue. We'll
or did they shorten the clip? Was it longer originally?
Try to fix that and get back to you after a quick break. Stay with CNN. We're back out live with White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy, Stephen Miller. Stephen, I sincerely apologize for that technical difficulty. It seems like some wires got crossed.
No, he's in the middle of a sentence. It doesn't make sense. Why would they make him stop talking? Honestly, like, is it maybe weird? Like, there is a reasonable explanation. I hate to give it, but like, there is a reasonable explanation. It's because when the thing goes out, they might tell you on the earpiece, hold on, we lost you. And so you'll sit and wait, right? That is a reasonable explanation. But also fuck these guys, so who knows?
You were describing the president's legal authority as you see it under Title X. My question was whether the administration still plans to abide by that judge's order restricting any National Guard troops from being sent to Oregon.
Well, the administration will abide by the ruling insofar as it affects the covered parties, but there are also many other options the president has to deploy federal resources and assets under the U.S. military to Portland.
Did you say ass whores?
But there are also many other options the president has to deploy federal resources and assets for the U.S. military to Portland. But I was making the point that under federal law, Section Title 10 of the U.S. Code, the president has the authority anytime he believes federal resources are insufficient to federalize the National Guard to carry out a mission necessary for public safety. So it's important to understand that in Portland, ICE officers have been subjected to over 100 nights of terrorist assault, doxing, murder threats, violent attack, and every other means imaginable to try to overturn the results of the last election through violence. The most important point I want to make today is that the number 1 and 2 items in the GOP platform in 2024 were to turn back the border invasion and carry out the largest deportation program in American history. Since Inauguration Day, there's been an orchestrated campaign of terrorism and violence against ICE officers. Of course, we saw the recent sniper attack against ICE officers. They're publishing their families' photos online. They're threatening them with murder. They're threatening them with death. And they're physically attacking them in the street each and every day. And yet, shamefully, the mayor and governor in Portland and Oregon have refused to render aid, leaving ICE officers to street fight every single night against these terrorists.
You make the claim of terrorist assaults and violence attack over 100 nights, and yet the judge overseeing this case says that that's untethered from reality. And local officials on the ground say that Trump's assertion of what's happening in Portland, that it's war-ravaged and burning to the ground, is far from true. I looked at the police data, and police have made something like 70 total arrests since June. And there are no reports of buildings being burned to the ground. The White House cited a guillotine being rolled out as like a public display of rebellion. But there isn't actually a threat that these demonstrators are going to overthrow the government. Are you concerned that that response weakens your legal argument?
No, they are actually, as we speak, trying to overthrow the core law enforcement function of the federal government. Of course, this is, I think, where we're talking past each other. When ICE officers have to street battle against Antifa, hand-to-hand combat every night to come and go from their building, when they try to exit in a vehicle, when they're swarmed and surrounded and they try to tip the vehicle over.
Is the Antifa in the room with you right now?
People bring weapons to an ICE facility to try to engage in direct violent assault against ICE officers. What is the purpose? It is to prevent Immigration and Customs Enforcement from carrying out the mission the American people elected them to do. Their objective is to make it impossible for ICE to carry out ICE enforcement. When in our history have we tolerated unlawful riotous assemblies night after night around FBI buildings or ATF buildings or DEA buildings? This is the textbook definition.
This is the textbook definition, he's going to say, of insurrection. That's why he's so specific with his language when he's saying the because remember, before, I don't know what insurrection means. I have no idea. I've never heard that word before. But now, remember the Paulson and Wad paper? I don't know if I read that on stream or not, but that I read, it was like 130 pages, goes into the historical definition. Remember the Supreme Court case, the Colorado Supreme Court case? Like, we know what insurrection is, right? And part of some of the important elements of insurrection is when you are engaged in violence or intimidation with a group or crowd of people, 1, 2, and then 3 is to prevent the government, the federal government, from carrying out its duties. That's what an insurrection is, as defined by the Colorado Supreme Court. I think Paulson and Wad, I think, had one other element in there, but this is what he's going to say. He's going to say, this is a textbook insurrection, I think. Man, I hope he does say that, otherwise I just went on a whole rant for nothing.
Buildings, or ATF buildings, or DEA buildings. This is the textbook definition of domestic terrorism.
Fuck! He said domestic terrorism. He said insurrection earlier, though. Okay, fuck you.
Using the actual and imminent threat of violence to keep federal officials from doing their jobs.
What he's saying there, though, the words that he's speaking here, to prevent federal officials from doing their job, this is the insurrection definition. I don't know why they're like the terrorist one now, but...
Unless we send in troops and resources, then we will continue to bleed federal law enforcement resources in these street battles. It's absurd, it's unconstitutional, and must be put down.
You cited Title 10 a moment ago.
Put down.
And under that statute, you need either a foreign invasion, a domestic rebellion, or a disturbance.
Remember, also, domestic terrorism is not a thing that we don't designate domestic terrorist organizations. That's just not a real thing. Although Trump tried to, I guess, with his executive order. I don't know what that looks like in practice, but...
That inhibits the ability for law enforcement to carry out federal law. But ICE is still conducting operations. Like, the facility hasn't been overrun.
They're saying the terrorism thing to do Title 10. Oh, maybe they are. I don't know anything about Title 10 or what the fuck. Like, I've only read up to Title 4. I'm just kidding. I don't know what that. Well, the U.S. Armed Forces provides a legal basis for roles, missions, organizations, feature the service. Oh, maybe that's why they're leaning into the domestic terrorism thing more than is for authority here. Maybe.
It seems like local officials are fairly in control of the operation if ICE is still able to execute its mission, is it not?
Do you have any idea how much of ICE's workforce and resources have had to be reprioritized? How much of the Joint Terrorism Task Force's resources have had...
Notice how this guy over here, even though he appears to be like a normal functioning human being that seems like he breathes air, eats, ordinary food, in reality, he's sustained. I'm sorry, I was about to say a bunch of mean shit. I was about to just go off. Why doesn't he answer that question? He asked a pointed question. Are federal officials able to carry out their job And then this guy just pulls out his dick and he just fucking slaps him all over the face with it. Well, maybe he'll recenter. I don't know.
Officials are fairly in control of the operation if ICE is still able to execute its mission, is it not?
Do you have any idea how much of ICE's workforce and resources have had to be reprioritized? How much of the Joint Terrorism Task Force's resources have had to be reprioritized to fight these domestic terrorists? Do you have any idea how many resources are spent
You keep
trying
calling
to
them
hunt down and
terrorists, but
track
isn't that
every...
hyperbolic to call them terrorists?
What is... If anything, I'm understating the severity of the situation.
Like, do you see how effective that is? Isn't it hyperbolic? Notice how I wish I could point this out more to people, okay? The centering the conversation, right? The centering the conversation, it should be, we don't even have domestic terrorist designation, right? And what are these people even doing? But now it's, don't you think it's hyperbolic to call them terrorists? That's the conversation. So like if you win, let's say that he gets a full W on that and gets him to admit, okay, maybe it's a tad hyperbolic to call them terrorists. Okay, so they're like a little bit less than terrorist? Like this, being able to fight on enemy ground is so nice because even when you lose, you're still in their territory. Like it's such an effective way to frame, and conservatives have framed every single conversation like this.
What issue was more central in 2024 than turning back the border invasion? And since the day we came in, ICE officers have been subjected to a nonstop campaign of physical violence and harassment every single day. And outside the Portland field office in particular, every night, they come, they assemble, they fight, they try to impede movement, they physically attack. For what purpose? Because we had an election, Boris. We had one. What's the purpose?
Like, how often is this happening? Where's all my video footage of this? Where are the arrests that are being made? What's our body count at? What are we talking about?
To use actual physical violence to change the result of the election. To say you cannot turn back the border invasion. Do you have any idea how many resources we have had to redesignate to deal with these street terrorists?
Let me ask the question. You make a case that these are terrorists, but...
And look, he lets him have the framing on all of it. Remember, I'm on Cuck News Network right now. This is supposed to be the liberal. This is the libcuck. This is the most libcuck network. CNN is like the one they hate the most. You're not getting any credit for this. Like if I'm a center left person, I'm just watching this media. I guess I'm coming away thinking like, okay, well, you know, Stephen Miller's a little crazy, but I mean, he is cooking a little bit, right? Where's my pushback here for anything at all?
Let me ask the question. You make a case that these are terrorists, but in what we've seen thus far, the actual incidents of people inciting violence and not responding to law enforcement attempting to disperse them are not an open rebellion. I mean, again, you make this characterization as though they're terrorists, and I do wonder if it is potentially a problem in the future for Republicans. If a Democratic president someday calls the National Guard to a red state over what they see as open rebellion, but is what amounts to a demonstration that gets rowdy. I mean, is that not a fear?
They're posting pictures of their kids because it's a demonstration, and they have a sniper on top of a building firing a high-caliber rifle at a nice facility because it's a demonstration, and they are engaged in vehicle ramming.
But the National Guard isn't being sent to Texas.
Because it's
the National Guard isn't.
Yeah, they didn't send the National Guard there because wasn't that in Texas where that shooting happened? Also, they keep mentioning the shooting at the ice facility, the guy that killed the 3 immigrants, right? Do we have any more information on that guy? Was he like a registered Republican or Democrat, or do we know anything else about that dude?
Being sent to Dallas where that sniper was.
Because the Dallas Police Department and the governor of Texas, well, you walked right into that one, have responded to every call for assistance and help. They gave us.
You walked right into that one. Because in Texas, they're helping us where they're shooting at our officers and killing them. In Portland, they're not helping us where, have there been any officers killed? Like, is there, and I'm legitimately asking this because I've been out of town for a week and a half. What the fuck is happening in Portland? I was just in Portland. I didn't see shit. Has anybody been killed? Any officers been killed or like seriously wounded in some kind of like clash? Has anything happened at all? Anything? Give me a link to one story or one thing. There's got to be at least a few injuries, right?
Stand-down order in Chicago, and they gave a stand-down order in Portland. Do you realize that there's 11,000 federal law enforcement officers in Oregon? That's larger than the size of the FBI. Local and state police are resourced to federal troops to fill in this assembly, but they have refused. They've been given a stand-down order. Local and state police are resourced to deal with this kind of riotous assembly, but they have refused. They've been given a stand-down order. So
they've arrested some 70 people since June. They've been arresting folks on the ground.
Like, is that true? I know that in Chicago, I think the mayor said that the feds weren't allowed to use any of their resources, or was that Ohio? The governor might have said that. But like, is there a stand down order where they're not responding to riots? Is that happening? Was it the governor of Illinois? Like, I feel like if this was given, I feel like I'd be hearing a lot more about this, but. Oh shit! Oh yeah, we saw this. This guy was crazy, to be fair. The frog man. He kept going? Did he? Like, bruh, this chick looks like she's a fucking eating disorder. What the fuck are we doing here? Really? These are the people that we're fighting with?
We're gonna body check him because...
This one? The girl that sounds like she's from fucking LA? That's the one? The cop that's shorter than me? This is the violent clashes? Who posted this? New York Post, too. This is like a right-leaning...
No. Hey, this is the line that they created.
My issue earlier with XQC's statement, even though he thinks he's being epic, intelligent centrist, is when Asmongold talks about shooting people, this is like the type of event that he might not be explicitly stating, but this is what's going on right now. It's just like retarded shit like this. Why the fuck are we talking about shooting and killing these people? Oh. Wait, what the fuck? Wait, what? Did I miss something? I missed something. I'm sorry. Hold on. She must have thrown a punch or one of those huge boulders that... Wait, what the fuck? I missed something. Okay, hold on. Calling somebody stupid 3 times is okay. 5 times, though, is incitement to violence. Does she keep doing it?
Body check him because...
Who is talking to you? No. Hey, this is the line that they created.
Oh. Are you okay, sir? I like how this other guy also comes up.
No.
My favorite thing is when there are cops that are like, when cops get emotionally engaged, it's kind of like when you have a toddler, like they just go like blind with rage, or like a pit bull, and they can't see like anything in their peripheral vision. They just get developed like this Israeli IDF bloodlust. They just can't help themselves. But like another cop outside of like the direct confrontation that's life-threatening, okay, with a girl who looks like she posts selfies on eating disorder Twitter, okay, the other cop will come and be like, I like when you see them, they're like, hey bro, you need to like chill. You can see this guy back here, right, where he's like, he's trying to pull his friend back. He's like, guy, bro, chill. We don't need this right now. But he doesn't realize that the officer's friend has already caught the bloodlust. You're like, oh no, I pulled back the wrong one. What are you doing? There's like more people standing here recording than there are people like, what is this protest? There's like 6 people here. Are they ICE or police? I would hope these are federal officers. Are these really just Portland? Or it says ICE agents, although who the fuck knows with... what does this, like, shield thing mean? Does this mean federal? I would hope local police aren't doing this. I mean, federal police shouldn't be doing this either. ICE, Portland police aren't helping ICE.
Who is talking to you? No. Hey, this is the line that they created.
Oh, she had a case for her phone. Like, this is... Do we need these people here? Or maybe, like, through the smoke, it is going to be like Helm's Deep, and, like, 100 of them are going to come running out in frog suits. Like, there's, like, 80 officers here. I'm getting triggered as, like, a fucking McDonald's employee. When you see this many people standing around, it's time to go home. I'm sorry. Is there nothing to be... Is my dining room flawless right now? Is the trash empty? Is the milkshake machine deep cleaned? Because you're standing around doing nothing. It sounds like you need to go the fuck home. Get off my clock! What are these guys doing? Oh, shit! You see them coming. Okay, here we go. Oh, shit. There's like 4 of them. Oh my god. Do they have their furry outfits on? The Antifa super soldiers? Oh, they're surrounded! Oh, I didn't see that. They got the cops surrounded. Holy shit. We've got the bleached hair Barbie over here. We've got a ton of people holding cell phones up. A couple here that look like they're sightseeing from Seattle. We've got a group of 3 friends here. Car coming, red light. Oh my god. They're trapped, surrounded from both sides. Oh, okay. The more serious. We've got an attack dog from this lady right here who looks like she's built for combat. This look of consternation on this guy's face. He's probably imagining tearing out the entrails of an ICE agent right now.
I got a job and I gotta be up at like 4:30.
This guy brought a weapon to throw, like a ninja star. Oh, also, look at these professionally made posters. Definitely Soros funded. They probably bought out the Kinkos and they use it as their criminal front. That's not human handwriting. That's definitely from a machine.
I got a job and I gotta be up at like 4:30.
Who dyes hair that's this short? Is that really worth the time investment? I guess when Soros is paying you to be there. Also, goddamn, you guys need to get up. It's like 80% women. What the fuck? Right? Girl, 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 girl. Also, I feel like this is good because a lot of these people look like they could use the walking. So that's sorry, that's me. I'm bowling a lot today. I'm sorry, my bad. When I was making fun of that one girl for being eating disorder, I didn't like. I'm not making fun of her. I'm just saying that it's it's like a 90-pound girl. I don't know why the cop is like, I need to fucking mace the fuck out of you. It's just crazy to me. That's a professionally made sign right there. 100%. Professionally made. Wait! This kid right here. Wait. Does he kind of look like the guy? I've never seen the show before, but I've seen the actor. This guy from the Shameless show? And I think he's in some cook show. A little bit? Like if the hair was down a little? You could see it. Yes. Okay, I got it. Okay, I'll give it to you. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, I think about 80% of chat agrees with me. All right. My God. Okay. Well, now that we've got a taste for the blood.
They've been arresting folks on the ground. They refute what you're saying outright.
We literally have the 911 audio of the stand-down order in Chicago, and we have documented inside of DHS every single unresponded to 911.
What is the city he's referring to? 911 call, stand-down order, Chicago. Chicago police order to ignore Border Patrol agents' plea for help while surrounded by angry mob of protesters. Oh, okay, so this was for a singular event. Okay, not like a broad, but what? Okay, so what's going on? Chicago police officers en route to help federal agents who were being surrounded and menaced by an angry mob of ICE protesters were seemingly ordered by their chief of patrol to stand down and not provide assistance. Stunning dispatch audio and internal messages reveal. The group of agents was conducting a routine patrol on the city's south side on Saturday when they were attacked and ran by vehicles and boxed in by 10 cars. Wait, routine patrol? Does ICE have a routine to patrol in Chicago? When they were attacked and ran by vehicles, boxed in by 10 cars, the Department of Homeland Security said. Like a coordinated 10-car box-in? Is there video footage of this? ICE has been making fake 911 calls in Chicago. Wait, how old is this article? October 5th, 6 days ago. This video is 8 days ago.
Back to Broadview now, where village officials sent a strong message to the feds this week. They do not want ICE operating its detention center in their town.
Now the Broadview police chief says ICE agents are draining the resources of his department and the community by making false 911 calls. And what you are about to see is one of them. Our Dave Savini investigates.
Yeah. You are watching as Broadview police respond to a 911 call, claiming someone was tampering with a gate at the ICE detention facility there. Body camera footage obtained by the CBS News Chicago investigators shows several Broadview police officers respond to an alleged Homeland Security threat. The gate in question is where ICE takes detained immigrants for processing.
What's up, guys?
Hey, what's up?
Not much.
What? Is this press? Media?
Good. We got a call of subjects trying to climb over the
Ooh, wait. Is this one of those, who in chat knows it? Dude, there are like these... There's no way these are worth it. They must be worth it. They're like, No, not Manfrotto. That's what I buy. There are these, tripods that cost, I want to say like, are they like $8,000 to $12,000 each? Fuck. If somebody says the name in chat, I'll be able to Google it, but they're insanely expensive.
or something?
No, not since we've been here.
But when police arrive, all they find is 2 people and a camera. Our CBS photographer filming the exterior of the building with a CBS security guard by...
Oh, Sachtler or whatever. These things? No way. Maybe they don't sell them on Amazon? This includes the head, but $8,300. What the fuck? Look at that tasteful pan. The thick hydraulics.
by his side.
Okay, you guys didn't tamper with any of the...
No, man. The 911 call claiming someone was tampering with the gate came from an ICE agent. According to this incident report, an ICE agent called police for help.
But he can't go and try to force his way into that door.
Okay, so the guy in the
He
booth?
just says that he was just recording. The camera.
Do you believe?
Is there a good reason it costs so much? My guess is going to be two things. Probably durability and how quickly you can deploy it. I'm kind of spoiled. I've realized, like, when you do, like, shows, like, live streaming is whatever, because the equipment is whatever, and I can see, like, live feedback on problems. I can switch out stuff or do whatever. But when you have, like, planned events where there are scheduled people that go to a place and you're trying to shoot something, like, having a piece of equipment break on you can be, like, a catastrophe. Or just, like, when you're trying to set up and tear down quickly, like, time is important, you know, how much you have to bill for stuff, how many events you can do and everything. Yeah.
Try to force his way into that door.
Okay, so the guy in the
He
booth?
just says that he was just recording. The camera.
Do you believe that that was a false call?
I do. Again, it was just our CBS photographer filming the exterior of the building.
In your mind, bogus?
Yes. It's disturbing. It's ridiculous.
Broadview Police Chief Thomas Mills says this is just one of several questionable 911 calls his police department has received from ICE at this facility recently.
They're super fucking nice to use when you're shooting kind of run and gun, but have a big camera package. Yeah, there you go.
Listen, as responding officers also question the validity of the 911 call.
It sure doesn't look like anybody's forcing anything in any fence over here.
The deployment of tear gas, pepper spray, mace, and...
Like, bro, when there are more journalists than protesters, there's got to be some, like, name for some law. Like, call it the law of fucking, like, camera tear gas or something. When you've got more journalists than protesters, I feel like you are creating, there's a fictitious problem.
The deployment of tear gas, pepper spray, mace, and rubber bullets by ICE near the processing center in the village of Broadview is creating a dangerous situation for the community.
This same detention center has become the site of at least 3 other incidents involving federal agents who are accused of hitting people with cars, shooting projectiles, and using chemical agents on journalists, including a CBS reporter last Sunday.
I immediately felt it burning. I started throwing up, was able to drive a little bit, and then I had to park.
Asal Razai, our reporter, driving her car with a window open and to be struck like that? What do you feel about that?
It's horrific.
He's demanding ICE turn over the names of all federal officers involved in each incident and says he's ready to take ICE to court.
Are we going to look at maybe reaching out to Cook County State's Office of subpoenas?
As easy as that.
The chief also says he's now reviewing all 911 calls made from the facility.
It's actually a violation of law. It would be classified under disorderly conduct, filing a false official report.
The Broadview police chief says the Department of Homeland Security tells him they will cooperate with his criminal investigations, but he said they wouldn't say to what extent. In the news,
it was like this in LA too, like 10 protests arguing with a counter protester with like 4 National Guard Humvees behind them. I mean, people have done a good job so far, but I will say my feeling is what the US government really wants is they really want one of their agents to get killed. The goal of this is if you deploy enough people to enough places, at some point, somebody's going to get killed. And then at that point you can, this feels so corny, but I guess like our whole fucking government is corny. Everything in our country is so corny right now. What's the thing where the investigator like sees the whole plan or whatever? Fuck, what does he say? It's like this part. No. Is it this?
How many went out?
City's gone mad. Chaos. Mr. Greedy. The problem is that he knows us better than we know ourselves. That's why I went to Lark Hill.
Okay, never mind. It's too corny. I can't watch it all. But like they go like, oh jeez, I just dropped some shit. I thought I was getting killed. Jesus. Yeah. If you deploy enough agents everywhere, at some point somebody's going to start some shit, and if you get real lucky, one of your agents will get killed. And then once they get killed, if a federal agent dies, now they've got all the authority they think they need or all the justification to send in everybody they want because their agents weren't protected. That's what it feels like they're gunning for.
911 call over the recent weeks and months. Let me present you with a counterfactual. And I know you're doing your best to try to be even-handed here, but think about this for a second. Joe Biden let 15, 20 million illegal aliens into the country. Pick your number. It doesn't matter for the purpose of this. What do you think would have happened?
I like how honest they are. Remember how I said over and over again, like, what if I said 1 million? What if I said 5 million? He's like, it doesn't even matter what the number is. Yeah, it's just a lot. Trust me, it's a lot. Where the fuck are all these 25 million illegal immigrants? That's like almost 10% of the U.S. population. Almost, you're telling me that 7% of the U.S. population came in through illegal. Where the fuck are these people? What the fuck? Are they the ones taking all the tech jobs? Where are these people at? And keep in mind, it would be highly concentrated in the southern states if they're all illegal. Where are they?
Second. Joe Biden let 15, 20 million illegal aliens into the country. Pick your number. It doesn't matter for the purpose of this. What do you think would have happened if anti-migration demonstrators had assembled outside of every Border Patrol and ICE facility for year after year, physically attacking every ICE officer and border agent who was releasing illegal aliens, physically attacking the immigration lawyers representing illegal aliens, physically attacking the personnel at DHS setting migrants free by the millions into our country? What do you think would have happened?
What's the end goal? Create an incident so they can officially deploy the military and deter/police the elections. That, I mean, it feels like some goal. That's like the end scary, spooky goal. The problem is that like you can't seriously consider this because it's all so fantastical and goofy. But like the fantastical and goofy stuff just keeps happening. I don't know what the actual implications would be, but like the fact recently that Dominion was bought by some company whose owner is like a Republican, fucking loser or whatever. Dominion voting systems, when I think like over half the states, I think, use some form of a Dominion voting machine. One of the nation's largest election technology companies has been acquired by St. Louis-based Liberty Vote. The acquisition caps a half-decade that saw Dominion thrust into the public eye amid false accusations of election rigging. Liberty Vote announced the purchase of Dominion Thursday afternoon. Liberty Vote was founded by Scott Leyendecker, a former Republican elections director for St. Louis. He also founded Noinc, which describes itself as the largest provider of electronic poll book technology in the United States, used in dozens of states. Like if Zuckerberg and Bezos and Elon Cuck, if all these people are bending the knee, I mean, like how much influence do they have over people like that? Who knows, right? And then if we have reason to send, like, and again, also, like, I'm not trying to call for violence or anything, but I am saying, like, to have the don't tread on me cucked fat, diabetic losers who are always like, the Second Amendment. Like to see for no reason ICE agents deployed
to his point, right outside this.
Outside of this, when Gavin Newsom was making the speech here, just so you know, for anybody that gives a fuck about the Second Amendment, okay? And for anybody that gives a fuck about the fears of a strong federal government, this is the kind of shit that was exactly worried about by the anti-federalists. The idea that you would have such a powerful, centralized federal government, right? Because the whole point of the Constitutional Convention was that the Articles of Confederation were too weak to hold together an actual country, right? So they had to make this actual constitutional convention so they could draft a constitution to create a federal government that would be strong enough to do its job, but not so strong that it could fuck over all the individual states, right? And the whole point of the Bill of Rights was this massive concession made to the anti-federalists to say, look, we promise federal. This is like the nightmare scenario of the no one cares about it 250 years ago or whatever, but like this is the nightmare scenario. It's like, oh, the president of the United States, the governor of the federal government is going to send his federal police force to intimidate the governor of a state government, the executive of a state. Like, it's actually so, this is like but no one cared. No one cared about any of this. It's unhinged. It's just crazy.
Happened. You think that the response would have been measured? You think it would have been light? They would have had the military in every single facility protecting these federal officers. We shouldn't have to take all of the FBI by the millions into our country. What do you think would have happened? You think that the response would have been measured? You think it would have been light? They would have had the military in every single facility protecting these federal officers. We shouldn't have to take all of the FBI, DEA, and ATF agents out of their desks, off their jobs, not prosecuting and pursuing cases of urgent national security because the Portland police won't respond, the Chicago police won't respond.
Like, didn't you motherfuckers just 10x your budget? Didn't you just, where the fuck is all the money going to? Didn't you just 10x the budget for this whole department?
The numbers that we need can only come from the National Guard. ICE officers should have to live in constant fear of death. You say that I'm not using the right term? What would you describe? An organized campaign of violence, fear, intimidation, and doxing, including attacks by sniper, attacks by vehicle ramming. What would you call that, whose sole aim and objective is to disable the functions of an entire federal law enforcement agency?
The vehicle ramming thing, I think, was fake. And the sniper killed 3 immigrants. But okay, bro.
Not domestic terrorism. What other term would apply?
Do you have evidence that this campaign is coordinated? Are you planning charges on anyone who is actually coordinating said campaign?
Yes. So since the Joint Terrorism Task Force has gotten involved, we found that there are common funding, that there is common financing, that there are meeting points, that
for what you're
it's
describing
carefully
as actual
orchestrated, it's
terrorism.
carefully integrated. Yes.
And you are going to charge someone with terrorism?
Well, so I would like to.
I bet you would like to, but that doesn't mean you're going to, are you?
No. What
I'm saying, he actually says something snarky for the person. I would like to. Yeah, of course you would. Fucking Goebbels Jr., fucking Hitler 2.0. Yeah, I know you'd like to, motherfucker. You wouldn't even like to charge them. You just want to convict them and throw them in a fucking electric chair or firing squad.
Congress has statutes on seditious conspiracy, on insurrection, on impeding federal law enforcement. The domestic terrorism statute in Congress obviously needs to be strengthened for domestic terrorism in Congress. We have foreign terrorism charges. We have an entire patchwork of federal laws. To the extent that there are charges that apply, you will charge them in every single case. You have impeding law enforcement, you have seditious conspiracy, you have conspiracy to deprive of rights, you have assault against law enforcement officers, but all of this meets the hallmark, textbook definitions of domestic terrorism. I just want you, just for a moment, to step back and think about what we're talking about here. President Trump ran and won a campaign on turning back the border invasion.
You've said that several times, Stephen. We have a limited amount of time, so let me ask you about the governor of Illinois.
He declared a no-go zone. He declared a no-go zone for ICE. How is that not insurrection?
Stephen.
I love all the language he gets to use here. The no-go zone for ICE. Oh my God. Because the frog costume guys are beating them all up.
To hear from J.B. Pritzker in just a moment.
He keeps using Jack Smith's language. Yeah, of course. The obstruction, conspiracy to deny rights, that was all in the Jan 6 indictment. That's why they talked about the insurrection stuff. It's why they talk about seditious conspiracy. And they use these words commonly to take them away from what the Democrats caught kind of Trump on. But it was just an indictment. They didn't even go through the case. Thank God for the American justice system.
He says that you're attempting to inflame tensions and create a war zone. He also says that you are profiling, that you're targeting black and brown people, even those who turn out to be here legally. What's your response?
Well, first of all, the black people in Chicago are thrilled that we're getting the illegal aliens out of their communities who are stealing their housing, jobs, and resources. You've seen the video of the town halls during the Biden administration where black citizens who are native to Chicago were begging to have the illegal...
Notice how... We could go back and watch this whole video again. Notice how he doesn't answer a single question and he's not forced to?
Well, first of all, the black people...
Like, what was the question was, are you guys detaining people and doing things, against American citizens that aren't actually legal immigrants? You're just like racially profiling? Interesting you say that because black people love us. Oh, my bad. Fuck me.
You're attempting to inflame tensions and create a war zone. He also says that you are profiling, that you're targeting black and brown people, even those who turn out to be here legally. What's your response?
Well, first of all, the black people in Chicago are thrilled that we're getting the illegal aliens out of their communities who are stealing their housing, jobs, and resources. You've seen the video of the town halls during the Biden administration where black citizens who are native to Chicago were begging to have the illegals taken out of their country. What they've done is they've created a system of law in Chicago, in Illinois, where illegal aliens have far more rights than American citizens. If an American citizen, for example, commits a crime of sexual predation against a child, they'll cooperate with the FBI. If an illegal alien commits a crime of sexual predation against a child, that illegal alien will be shielded in an ICE no-go zone. I ask you the question. What is the right term to describe a local official?
Notice how he's talking about like the difference between the FBI and ICE here. Like he's saying that they wouldn't cooperate with the FBI when it comes to child exploitation if it was an illegal immigrant. Is that true? I don't think that's true. I doubt that.
Oh, that illegal alien will be shielded in an ICE no-go zone. I ask you the question. What is the right term to describe a local official declaring a no-go zone for ICE? Would you tolerate it for FBI, ATF, DEA? No, you would not. But there's an effort to delegitimize the core function of the federal government of enforcing our immigration laws and our sovereignty. It is domestic terrorism, it is insurrection, and no amount of insane, hyperventilating lies from Pritzker or Johnson or any other Democratic official will change our minds on that. ICE officers should not have to live in fear and violence to do their jobs, period.
So on the substance of the question, is it the case that, as Pritzker frames it, you are profiling brown people, that this immigration crackdown...
Oh my God. He re-asked the question one time. Is he going to answer this time?
...is designed to go after people of color.
That is it's such a, oh, what a dumb question.
And then these guys come and they just take it. He just takes it from this guy.
Aliens who are here are taking jobs away from blacks.
No
They're
answer.
taking jobs away from whites.
No
They're
answer.
taking jobs away from Latinos.
No
They're taking
answer.
their health benefits away. They're taking their school slots away. And of course, in many cases, they're committing heinous crimes. We cannot have a system of law in this country that privileges illegal aliens over American citizens. And that's what they're doing. You know it, and I know it.
So that's not exactly a no, Stephen. Can you just unequivocally state that the immigration...
Oh, we were going to ask a question for the third time. Wow, you almost have a spine.
Dumb question. Okay,
well, I appreciate
no,
that, but
and it's a dumb question.
Oh, there you go. We got him to say no, I guess. Although he's lying, but...
So no, this policy is not
I
designed
thought when I said it was a dumb question, it meant no.
Well, I just want to be clear and precise. I appreciate you trying to qualify my questions, but nevertheless, I think it's a fair one that a lot of people have.
My full answer is no, that is a lie, and it's a dumb question. But you said something else baked into the premise of one of your questions. You said, well, aren't we provoking? Illinois governor says we're provoking actions that are unlawful. Why would the mere presence, just think about this for a second, if I put federal law enforcement and National Guard into a nice, sleepy southern town, is anyone going to riot? Is anyone going to try to shoot them in the face?
If someone goes into a building full of people in the middle of the night covering their faces without identifying...
Remember when there was that whole like Republican takeover of like huge swaths of federal land that ended in like a literal standoff with the BLM or whatever over with the Bureau of Land Management over like these conservatives on public grounds, but we just didn't give a fuck because it was like conservatives and no one cared. I mean, like, no, not the Bundys. It was even later than that. Fuck, what was this? Was it Ruby Ridge? Is that it? I think one person died. No. This is the... Fuck, what am I thinking of? Was it the Bundys? Or maybe it was the Bundys thing. That was in 2014. I thought it was after that. Am I crazy? The Bundys were the ranchers that took BLM land for the 2016 standoff. See that? How many times did they do this? On January 2nd, 2016, an armed group of right-wing militants seized and performed an adverse occupation of the headquarters of the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge in Harney County, Oregon, and continued to occupy until law enforcement made a final arrest on February 11th, 2016, over a month. Their leader was Amon Bundy, who participated in the 2014 Bundy standoff at his father's Nevada ranch. Other members of the group were loosely affiliated with non-government militias and the sovereign citizen movement. Maybe this Bundy standoff, did like one person die in this or something? Maybe not. He got off on all the charges based. You're thinking of the Oregon one? Maybe I am for this one. Oh, one militant was killed while resisting arrest. One militant was wounded before being arrested. Oh, it might have been this one I think of, yeah.
Identification without identifying themselves. There might be concern among the community, especially if American citizens are being... Especially if American citizens are caught up in that, which some reportedly were.
We netted over 30 foreign terrorists who are members of Train
and American citizens also wound up apprehended in
that. They torture women and children. Those American citizens are now safe from Tren de Aragua. You know, there's a case recently in Washington.
Damn, what do they do? Tren de Aragua just comes into the United States like for the sole purposes of torturing women and children? Why do people even let these guys in their community? It seems like kind of a shitty... It's just like the worst gang ever. What the fuck?
But isn't that enough reason for some people to demonstrate and say that they disagree with that policy?
They took a power drill.
Isn't it enough for some people...
By the way. Hey, Stephen, we are hold a woman's hand.
Understood. Stephen, we have to leave the conversation there because we're short on time, but nevertheless, we do appreciate you making the time for us and coming on CNN and sharing your point of view.
Always.
Thanks so much.
Jesus, my left-wing media. My left-wing media.